Greetings from Bulgaria. I'm Volk, and it is time for yet another update only 2 weeks before the launch of the next expansion for our favorite game. Let's see what do we have for today. Launcher updates, core world changes, the biggest sale, crafting changes. This will be the biggest portion of the video today. Conquest changes and issues, most likely. Not changes so much. And companion affection achievements and changes and so much. But first of all, wow, new launcher. Woohoo! Fancy new stuff. If you actually want to check more about the launcher, if you for whatever reason are not able to do that now, you could do that from my article. I've taken screenshots from all of the screens available in the launcher, including the news, the community, the very basic main screen, so-called main screen after you log in. Hey, if you see that name on the forums, on SWTOR forums, that's me. It's maybe a good idea to start the game at some point instead of talking about the launcher without doing anything else. We will start with the changes for crafting, and I will be doing some visual guidance because it's one thing reading about the changes from this relatively long blog from BioWare. I've structured it with a table of contents for, well, your easier use. And we will go over these basic changes, more advanced changes, and we will see what exactly has happened to our game and to the crafting specifically. In Knights of the Fallen Empire, we're making quite a few adjustments to how crafting will work. In this blog, BioWare is going to cover the basic things, and probably more and more will start appearing and surfacing after we get to play the new game, the new changes, the 4.0 patch. First bullet point, balance the crafting skills so that the benefits of all crafting skills are relatively equal. Woohoo! They've been trying to balance this for almost 4 years now, and before that, even beta, they were struggling. Improve the quality of crafted items so that crafting is a valid method to gear yourself. Down below, we will learn that once again, crafters will be able to craft the so-called end game or elder game. Ease of barrier of entry, making crafting easier to understand for our newer players means streamlining and simplifying. That's not necessarily a good thing. So let's see, log into, I don't know, why not? Like, that's a guy I haven't used in a very, very long time, but for the crafting demonstration purposes, it's absolutely irrelative which one I will be using. So the general crew skill changes. The new crew skill cap will not be actually new, it will remain 500. The crafting skill groups have been removed and they are no longer needed to improve your crafting skill. Example they've given is when you hit 400 level of crafting, you are supposed to go to the vendor and buy that ridiculously overpriced, in some cases, token to be allowed to keep progressing from 400 to 450. And then, if I'm not mistaken, you were supposed to buy yet another token. This is because when the game launched, we were capped at 400. With the next expansion, with the second, I don't remember anymore which expansion brought the cap to 450, but yet again, with Shadow of Revan, I guess the Huts expansion brought it to 450. Shadow of Revan brought it to, 500? And we were forced to buy those tokens for each one of our crafters, for each one of the crew skills. This was a huge money sink, for lack of a better word in my dictionary to describe it. But I finally learned the lesson and they've removed that, so it's a good step. All crafting has been organized in 8 grades. Let's see. Welcome! This guy has loaded up. He's using the very old original Rakata token gear. That's why he looks so ridiculous. What they mean by grades is these things. They've been changed, and this here now says grade 1 to grade 8. Why? Simple. More simple and more easier for the eyes, I suppose. The grades will be level 10 to 16 is the grade 1. You can actually see all of these things on the screen. I don't need to waste time and repeat them. 10 to 16, 16 24, 24 to 33, 30 32, 32 to 40, 40 to 56. This is a typo apparently on their blog. It's supposed to say 40 to 46, from 46 to 51, from 51 to 55, and 55 plus is the last tier for the last 50 points. You will see that, to me at least, it seems like BioWare has skipped a little bit on preparations and rushed this change just because they wanted to adapt it for the level 65 cap. But be sure that once we hit the next expansion, eventually, hopefully, maybe same time next year, there will be more changes to the grades, because sooner or later BioWare will want to adapt these changes to be jumping through equal amount of levels and points every time, because you see it's 0, 80, then 80, 160, 160, 240, 240, 300, and it's not always the same amount of points, and also it's not always the same amount of levels that you're jumping through the tiers. That's not exactly very good, well, simply because everything else has been streamlined in the same manner. I'm actually here speaking about the changes they made to the disciplines, and if you have missed your favorite class overview, I have all of them covered already in a special playlist that I will hopefully link here somewhere. But they've made changes so that every soul levels, number of levels, you will gain a passive skills, and every soul number of levels you will gain an active skill. And this is not the case with the crafting grades. Whatever their reason is, I don't believe it's a valid one. That's just my raging. I don't know why. It really doesn't matter much. Crafting skill changes. There will be no longer any premium green items to craft. What this means is every tier for your crafter, open up please, thank you. Every tier of your crafter will not have those green crappy items anymore. The lowest grade will be purple. They don't will be blue, excuse me. They didn't mention in the blog, since this is a preview and I can't share yet any details from the real changes. I will do that in a new video once they hit the live servers. But the lowest one will be blue. Probably the next one will be purple. Maybe we will see another color. I don't know. It should have been advertised if there is another color. So let's keep on the rambling. Reverse engineering items no longer gives a random item. Instead, the item reverse engineered will give an improved version of that item. The chance to get an improved item from reverse engineering has been increased. If you do know, because I definitely don't remember what was the chance to get the improved version now, before the change, before 4.0, do share that with all of us down in the comments, please. All crafted armor is adaptable. I don't know if that's good or bad. To me, it seems more like a good change. Everything else is already adaptive in the game, so why not the crafted armor? Nearly all schematics require a new premium green crafting material. That's different kind of green crafting material, don't get it wrong. It's called a component. This new component is made by combining 2 existing crafting materials along with 2 vendor purchased materials. So we will still have to farm these basic crafting materials. Some of them will be removed, bear in mind, but most of them will remain, and those that will be removed, you will see later in the blog, and I will mention it again, that they will be converted into usable, so you will not completely lose those materials you have farmed so hard. Basically, the new components will take some crafting materials that you can gather or send your companions to get from missions, and the other half of the component will be vendor items, so there is no escaping those big claws of the greed BioWare machine asking for your money to pay the vendors. Stupid, right? Example, an armor mech crafter wants to craft a grade 6 chess piece. Level 46 is their example. This is a prototype blue quality armor and requires 4 Ceridium and 4 Durasteel armor assembly components. The very basic standard components, if you don't know what these are. The player will need 2 Durasteel, 2 Zalaloy, and 2 Thermoplast Flux to craft each component. You know what this is? Maybe if I was in front of my bank, I could show you the basic materials that these guys are talking about. These are the most basic materials, of course. These are now grade 11. They will be grade 8, most likely. or grade 7 possibly converted to grade 7. We will see. We don't know how much of these exactly is going to be changed, but these are the basic green materials. And on top of that, you will need also another special items that vendors will be selling to you. Once they have the 4 components and 4 Ceridium from underworld trading, which means that the crew skills will still be crossed with each other. This means you will not be able to craft the good stuff with only scavenging, for example. You will still need to combine scavenging with underworld. This means that the gathering missions are still useful, thank God. In most cases, crafting times have been greatly reduced. This will enable crafters to craft more items to coincide with the faster leveling. I don't know why BioWare decided to make them shorter. I was personally expecting them to allow us to stack more at the same time. You know what I mean? Instead of stacking 5, we still have space for at least 2 more icons here. That's what I was expecting. So the companions can do more work for us while we're AFK, working or studying or God knows what else. But their change was leaving the 5 cap for stacking craftable items and just reducing greatly the time. It hasn't been mentioned yet how much they have shortened the time, but I'm imagining between 1/3 and half. I can't believe it will be any more than this, because this will allow crafters to just flood the market, and that would completely destroy everything. To match the above listed changes, augments have been reduced to 8 tiers. Pay attention. And let me know if my theory here is correct. The MK8 augment kit is now the highest augment kit. The existing MK9 and MK11 kits will turn into MK8 when Fallen Empire launches. What this means, what do you think? There will be no new tiers of augments. This most likely should mean that we will not have to augment and craft augments and augment kits and everything else all over again for all of our characters. On the other side, with the improvement, with the change, I don't know yet if it's an improvement, but it's a simplification. Everything is mastery now, so pretty much most of our characters will use the same kind of augments. For DPS, it's always mastery or always power, depending on your preferences. Maybe they will change those, so finally they make some difference between the main stat mastery and the power augments. Along with these general changes which are affecting crafting, there are some more detailed changes which impact very specific crafting skills. These changes are to balance the 6 different crafting skills with one another, which means BioWare is going to move some things from one crafter to another crafter. But let's keep reading the details so we don't skip on anything. Armorings can no longer be crafted by cybertechs. New Resistive Armorings Endurance are now exclusive to Armor Mech. New Versatile Armorings Mastery. Endurance is endurance heavy. Mastery means the Armorings is mastery heavy, obviously. Or in other cases, a DPS Armoring Mastery, a Tank Armoring Tank Endurance. Although it's a bad thing to stack endurance, but let's not get into that topic now. So the Mastery Armorings will be exclusive to Synth Weaving. Enhancements can no longer be crafted by artificers and are now exclusive to cybertechs. For these specific examples, these crafting patterns have been completely removed from their respective crafting skill. Due to the primary stats being converted to the mastery stat, the following changes have been made to augments. Armor mechs can now craft shield, absorb, and mastery. Remember, mastery combines all power, mastery now combines everything amongst willpower, aim, cunning, and strength. It is all mastery now, and this will all be crafted by armor mechs. Synthweavers will be doing alacrity, defense, and critical augments. Arm stacks will now be doing accuracy, endurance, and power. So 3 different specific augments for the 3 different specific crafters. All previously reusable biochem consumables are no longer reusable. There will be no more God mode for leveling with the biochem. This is to balance the crafting skill obviously with others and to encourage a market for these crafted items. However, the next bullet point will a little bit discourage the market boosting, because all low-level biochem stimulants have been improved. Their duration is increased to 8 hours, and they are now made in batches of 6 to 8 depending on the type. So unless they're very expensive to craft, which I highly doubt, what exactly will be the purpose of crafting more than one stack? Because for 8 hours, your character will definitely skip through at least half of the levels that this stimulant will be good for. I don't know if I expressed myself correctly, but I hope you understood. If you didn't, just ask in the comments. I will try to describe it better. I'm always better with written language. Droid Armor has been removed from the game. It's all companion armor, and because companions don't benefit from armorings anymore, they're all for appearance, there is no need for Droid Armor anymore. That's a good step. All previously reusable cybertech grenades are no longer reusable, just like with the stimulants for the biochem. They are now made powerful than their prototype equivalent. They are not forever yours. You will have to keep crafting and restocking on them. This is to balance the crafting skill with all the others and to encourage a market on these crafted items. Elder Game crafting, I don't know why they don't call it End Game. I don't like Elder Game, but who cares? These first two bullet points are really fun. All modifications acquired from the operations can be reverse engineered for their schematics. However, operation gear can no longer be reverse engineered. I'm not exactly sure what did BioWare mean by this, and more specifically, what did who the hell was the author of this? Excuse me. Senior designer at BioWare Austin, Ahmad Zabara. I'm not sure what Ahmad meant here, but I hope that someone can explain it better, or in 2 weeks I will be able to explain it to myself better and therefore explain it to everybody else who needs explanation. Crafters can now make gear equivalent to story and hard mode operations gear. Woohoo! They will never be able to make armorings with set pieces, so at least that's the incentive for doing operations, if not for fun, obviously. This gear can be acquired from their respective trainer. Wow, even easier. This crafted gear, when reverse engineered, is equivalent to story mode operation gear. So this means that even though your character at level 60 may not be good after you finish at level 65 for endgame, if you have crafter or if you have a friend crafter, you will be able to quickly gear up with story mode gear. And we know that usually the story, I don't know what they mean by story mode gear. We know from unconfirmed sources that we have 3 new tiers, but I won't share anymore because that's not official yet. And it hasn't been confirmed. But what exactly do BioWare mean by story mode gear? Does that mean that it's the entry-level gear for story mode ops? Or is it the gear that drops from the story mode ops? We will see soon. When this story mode equivalent gear is reverse engineered, the player can acquire the schematic to craft hard mode operation equivalent gear. Nice. Nice. This new gear has a guaranteed reverse engineer chance, which means probably it's not 5 or 1 or minus 1%. It's 100% chance to get it reverse engineered. Interesting. This new gear is sellable and tradable, obviously. This new gear requires a new crafting material that can only be acquired by completing your personal Conquest goal. And here, finally, we come to the Conquest. I have a specific moment planned later in the video for Conquest because there are a lot of issues. And I finally started doing some of that part of the game. But more on that later. This gear doesn't have set bonuses, obviously, thank God. Relics cannot be crafted in this method. It would have been nice to share with us, please, how exactly are we going to make relics, if the relics will be ever craftable, or maybe you will buy them directly from the vendors from now on. Harvesting and mission skill changes. All unlocked crew skill missions are now fully visible and no longer randomized. What BioWare means by that is, thank God I finally have a chance to look at my character again and his ridiculous hat. Currently, in the game, for any of the available mission levels or tiers or grades or whatever you want to call them, you have a selected number of missions randomly selected by the system, I guess, from all the available missions, and you have to force your companion to do a mission, then maybe wait a little bit to finish the mission, or cancel the mission after a specific amount of time, I forget how long it is, to make the system refresh that and offer a different selection of missions available, because you always want that specific one mission for that specific one companion that will produce the greatest results and will give you obviously the best crafting materials or items that you specifically desire. For example, unless they change that with the expansion, I do know for sure that Forsaken Handshake has a very high chance with the Bountiful Yield grade 11 slice tech parts to give you those parts and crit for you, especially if you use a companion that has a bonus for slicing. What's next? Crew skill missions unlocks have been aligned with the new grade system from above. Crew skill missions will now grant slightly more materials than they did previously. More materials means more missions, means less money spent to level up with crafting. Harvesting nodes can now be harvested regardless of your level. This means that if you so desire, you can be level 15 on your crafting. Level 15 on your crafting means that this progress here will be 15, let's say Archaeology 15 out of 500, you will still be able to harvest all of the nodes on Yavin 4, for example, which are way higher. But BioWare is removing that restriction, making it a lot easier to gather crafting materials. This probably also means that the market will be flooded with cheap crafting materials, and God knows, maybe you won't need anymore to have million crafters like you do now to be successful. Harvesting nodes will now grant skill increases regardless of the node or your skill level. That's also good, because otherwise, if you go back to the origin planets and the nodes that are there are very easily accessible because mobs don't attack you from 20 meters range and they don't aggro on you, but they were great because they are much lower than your current crafting level and they wouldn't give you rewards. They will give you the crafting materials, but they wouldn't progress your crafting skills. And this has been changed. Now you will get progress with your crafting skills, regardless of the level of the node. All harvesting nodes now have a chance to grant both sets of materials for their respective grade. This is also good because otherwise we had to farm endless amount of time to balance these things, because for example, to craft an augment kit, you needed the same amount of this item, the second item, and the third item. But usually when you're farming, you always get more from one of the items and less from the others. Archaeology crystals now grant fragment and crystals in addition to color crystals. Thank God, this is a very good positive change for archaeology gathering missions, because Yavin 4 is full of these things and most of them give color crystals, which are good for nothing. The completion time for crew skills mission has been also greatly reduced, so it's not just the crafting that has been reduced, it's also the mission times. Nice. Crafting material removal. Well, as I've mentioned previously, if something is removed, it will be replaced. It's removed from the game, but in your inventory, instead of those special old crafting materials, you will see the same amount of the new equivalent crafting material. And here is a very long list that I absolutely will not read here now because I don't want the video to be 3 hours long, but these are all the crafting materials that will be removed from the game. If you need, you can visit my article or the original blog, whatever you prefer. Let's see, what should be next? This is all about crafting for now. There will be more when I learn more and when I get my hands on the live servers. What the hell have I typed here? Companions affection achievements in patch 4.0. Nothing is changed for your companions, BioWare said, but let's jump straight to what Eric Musco said. He has seen some questions about the global legacy unlocks tied to companions, the presence bonus and reduced cooldown on heroic moment. Those are remaining exactly the same, so the benefit is still there for maxing your companion affection. What he means is, let me see if I can open my screen. We are going to this screen and we can see the benefits. All different kinds of companions, the original SWTOR companions will give you a specific bonus, whether it's some stats tank bonus or something else. More from Moscow. I wanted to pass on some information regarding changes to companion achievements in Knights of the Fallen Empire. As many of you know, affection is being changed to influence to coincide with your character's alliance. Due to this, we're going to be removing all of the Reach Max Affection achievements from the game, along with the achievements points which they have granted. We didn't want to create a situation where a very large number of achievements points has no longer accessible to a large number of players who haven't played the game previously. You can click the spoiler tag, and the spoiler tag is actually this thing that I have pasted here. This is a list of all of the achievements per class that is being removed. A lot of them, really a lot of them. They are all about maxing affection with companions, so if you have nothing to do for the remaining 2 weeks before the expansion launches, you still have a little bit of time to get those. Just for your personal pleasure, as mentioned, they will be removed. So, to compensate with this, BioWare has increased the points values for the Kill 1000 achievements from 5 to 20. So, Kill 1000 for every class and every companion has been increased. I don't know why. I've always liked being able to call myself a veteran and being able to say that I was here when this was available. I was there when this event happened. Why is BioWare removing these things? They're a part of our legacy. People have farmed these things, not me. I farmed a very small portion of this, maybe not small, maybe half of it. But a huge amount of people has farmed a lot of these things. They've spent money on giving gifts to their companions. Do you guys remember when the gift giving was a torture because it was, 4 seconds long channel before the companion accepts the gift? Pfft, ridiculous. And many people, me included, went through all of these hard times, and they've wasted their time achieving these things because for whatever reason they cared. There are multiple reasons why you should or shouldn't care about these achievements. We BioWare have added a new devotion to the class achievement for completing all of the Kill 1000 achievements for a given class or faction. When completed, you will be granted the Imperial or Republic Squad Commander title respectively. They have also added the Kill X achievements for both ship droids. This is how they compensate for the points that they will be stealing or taking away from the players. That's really a lot of points in your achievements tab that you will be losing, and especially to those of you who care. You may have not completed these Kill 1000s, but you have completed the other one, and that's really a huge drawback. There have been some changes to the core world, or what BioWare means by this, drawing inspiration from the success of last year's 12x and the more recent Epic Story XP boost, which was again 12x. In Fallen Empire, they will be altering the core leveling experience from 1 to 60 for all players, making it quicker and more story-centric. Their goal is to create a tighter leveling experience that alleviates the fatigue associated with having to complete dozens of missions per planet, and that allows players to focus on the core storylines of their characters and companions amid the backdrop of the Great Galactic War. Well, very well said, but I will actually simplify this because this is yet another long blog and I already feel the video going way too long. But basically what they mean is the bullet points. All repeatable missions, including heroic missions, have had their own missions icon adjusted now. The new icon will be gold triangle with arrows on it. Okay. Heroic missions have been adjusted to be completed by groups of 2+. This means that all of the previously known as Heroic 4 missions will be adjusted and their difficulty will be brought down. There will be no more heroic missions requiring 4 people. Barring a few special exceptions, heroic missions no longer need to be turned in at an NPC or mission drop box. This means once you complete the objectives, you will automatically receive the window with your rewards. That's nice. On completion of the final step of the heroic mission, the mission completion dialog will appear immediately in the field. Cool, that's exactly what I said. The first step of each heroic mission should give you a heroic transport item. Okay, using this item from your mission items inventory or the icon next to the task in the tracker, will transport you to a safe location near the site of the mission. You know what they mean? There will be a new icon here, or most likely here on this side, just like the icons when you finish Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 in your Origin class story, and you get a free teleport back to the fleet, because for whatever reason you were required to go to an NPC, get your reward. That NPC doesn't tell you anything. It's not a separate story or anything. There is no dialogue. You just go there, click get your reward, and well, basically BioWare brings you back to the fleet. This is going to be the same exact, except that they will be teleporting you straight to the entrance of the heroic. While heroic missions may still be acquired from NPCs in the field, you will also find the new weekly heroic mission terminal just outside of the spaceports of all planets up through Makeb. Accessing this terminal will allow you to easily acquire all the heroic missions for that planet. Why up through Makeb? Because after Makeb there are no heroic missions, and apparently BioWare doesn't want to put heroic mission terminals on Rishi and having to remind us that they have no service there. Heroic missions are now repeatable weekly and feature all new rewards. This means they've explained that in the stream, and I've covered all of the bullet points and everything important from the live developer stream from 30th of September. You can again watch my shorter video, 30 minutes or so, or watch the 2-hour full stream that Musco hosted. My video is just overview, and it doesn't contain spoilers from the story, because for the first 50 minutes Musco did a lot of spoilers. He shared the first part of Chapter 1 of the new story for Fallen Empire. Back on the topic, the new missions, the new heroic missions will be repeatable weekly, and they feature new rewards. What they mean by that is that the rewards will be specific to your current level. So, you know, because of the level syncing is as in synchronizing, you will be brought back to the specific level the mission has been originally designed for. So, for example, if you're doing heroic on Taris Empire side, you will be brought back to level 33 to 36, something in between, because that's the general level requirements for the planet. You will be 60, don't get me wrong, and in case you haven't seen any of my any other of my videos, damn it, or you don't know what they mean. Level syncing doesn't mean that they will steal half of your abilities and they will really bring you back to level 32 with half empty toolbars. No, you will still own all of your passive and active abilities. You will still have your gear. You will be absolutely the same character. Just your skills will be performing less. So what this means is you will be doing less damage or less healing depending on your role. Exploration missions will still be available if you want to do them. They're not being removed. Exploration missions is what BioWare calls those super fun for the first time and extremely boring for the fifth and going on times repeating them. Side missions that have nothing to do with the main story of your class or with the planet main story arc. These are just side missions. New missions, iconography, quick reference. They're telling us that the purple triangle will be critical path story missions, main class missions, in other words. A gold triangle is the critical path side missions, along with additional ones such as the missions to unlock flashpoints, because flashpoints in most cases do bring a lot to the story of your character and everything that's happening around your character. Arrow triangle are the repeatable missions, including heroics. Star triangle, these are the exploration missions, optional missions on each planet that can be completed at any level. Access can be toggled on via a checkbox on the map screen. You know, this means on your map, these things will be changed, probably a lot more, not this, I mean these things will be changed, and a few more will appear, just describing and showing the different kinds of missions available. The last thing I believe I had to mention is the Conquest issues. Currently, there are a lot of complaints that BioWare is aware of, that many people doing Conquest hardcore style are not receiving their proper amounts of points rewarded for completing the specific missions within the Conquest. So, in a developer post, Musco shared this. We have read a few threads about issues with Conquest rewards not being granted and acknowledged. There is definitely an issue with that system. As a result, beginning on October 20th, this is the date when early access for Fallen Empire begins, we will launch When we launch, early access to Knights of the Fallen Empire, we will turn off conquest events for all servers and all players for at least the following month. This means the end of October and probably most of November. They will be researching and looking out for possible fixes. However, if we go back to the crafting window and we read here somewhere, I've lost it, there it is, that if you want to craft the new gear, the new entry story mode or hard mode operation gear, you will need special items from your conquest. And what the hell? Until the end of November, players will not be able to do that, maybe because conquest will not be available until then. I suppose that's it, because the video is way too long. If you reached the very end of it, thank you very much. I hope you had fun. I hope you found useful information. You can always visit all of these things in the links down below in the video and read about those if you feel like my accent was too unbearable. But if you reach the end of the video, it's actually not that bad, yeah? Thank you very much, guys, for enjoying this one. Hope to see you with the next. Bye-bye. Remember, you can find me also on Twitch, Twitter and Facebook. For my non-Star Wars activities, I invite you to subscribe to my second YouTube channel.